You built your product, you launched your business, you saw success, money in the bank, a growing team, happy clients. But now you feel like you're drowning. I'm here to help you get your head above water. I'm Lauren Goldstein. My clients call me the Business Doctor. Together, we'll diagnose the root cause of your business worries, whether it's your people, your process, or your product. We'll clarify your business needs so you can scale without the burnout. And then we will simplify it all so your business can do what it's designed to do, make a profit and an impact. Welcome to the Biz Doctor podcast. Welcome back. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk about goals. More specifically, why most people don't actually achieve their goals. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You got super excited about something, decided you were all in, set the goal, and then didn't hit it, or better yet, nothing happened. Ever happened to you? I know you can't see me, but I'm actually raising my hand because that has happened to me. And after years of seeing this happen in my life and with those around me off and on, I decided to dig deeper into it. This is what I landed on. Most times we don't hit a goal is because it's out of alignment in some fashion. There's some sort of cognitive dissonance that's standing in the way of the goal. I actually see this happen a lot when the goal is big and sometimes scary. You know, those BHAG goals. We know what life looks like now, but we don't fully know what life looks like on the other side. So our brain is literally screaming, "No, don't do it. You'll die." I know, crazy, but true. And I actually talked about this in depth in episode 8. So I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I encourage you to go back and listen. But what your brain is doing is basically shielding you from death because change equals death. When you're having this cognitive dissonance moment and not really knowing what life is like on the other side, something that can help shield you against this is to actually drop in and imagine, which I know as adults, we've kind of lost this muscle because little kids have great imaginations. But as adults, we've been told to be realistic. Be realistic. That's not realistic. So we've kind of lost the thrill and memory of imagination. So to step through this cognitive dissonance, take a moment and imagine what life is going to look like, feel like, sound like. Use all of your senses on the other side of this goal. Because once you can align yourself with the fact that you're not going to die when you achieve this goal, I know it sounds silly. Logically, we know we're not going to die. But subconsciously, which is what runs 95% of the show, if we think we're going to die, we're not going to do it. So when you can get fully integrated and aligned with how it's going to look and feel and impact your life, you can make it happen. And the reason I bring this up is because I've often seen with entrepreneurs, especially when they're growing, scaling their team, which is what I specialize in, scaling their team and operations and thus business, they know what their business is like now. You know what your business is like now. But there's this fear of success because with success comes responsibility. At least that's what we're told. And so I see a lot of businesses stall, not because they don't have a great product and don't have the potential to scale, but because the business owner is actually afraid of what that next level of growth is going to look like. Which is honestly why one of the first things that I do when I start with my clients is really clarify their vision so we can work backwards. Because sometimes the business that you have now versus the business that you want, it might be aligned. And sometimes getting to that next level requires sacrifices or exchanges that you're just not willing to make. And that's okay. But you need to know that going in. That's why this having the vision and stepping into the vision and having the end result and knowing what that's going to look like is going to help you step through this and achieve your goal. The second, and honestly, now that I think about it, the most important key to making your goals a reality is understanding why you want it. There's a very famous book that Simon Sinek talks about this in. It's called Starts With Why. I encourage you, if you've not read it, to go out and give it a read today. But if you don't have a big enough reason why, it won't be enough to step through the unknown into creation. Because again, if we think about what I just talked about, your brain is trying to keep you safe, right? It's literally saying, if we change, we die. And if you don't have a big enough tangible why, I mean, it doesn't have to be tangible like money, but it has to be something that you can feel in your body, or, you're like, yes, this is getting me out of bed in the morning. Then you're not going to step out of the comfort zone that you're in to make that goal achieve. So if your reason isn't big enough for the exchange of time and energy, your goal just isn't going to happen. Because when you think about it, if you don't have enough energy and momentum propelling you forward to the future instead of in the present, then you're just going to stay at status quo. Because everything in life is an exchange of time and energy to get there. So in order to get a goal to happen, let's take an example here. I'm just going to make one up. But let's say that you want to hire a team, like a bigger team. You've got a team now, but you really want to take it to the next level. Obviously, having more mouths to feed is not a great reason why. But having the freedom to spend more time with your family, or having more teams so you can make a bigger impact with your clients, that's a pretty big why, right? If you have that why, and you know that in order to grow your team, you're going to have to spend some time finding, hiring, and training, which takes away time from other things in the business. If you don't have that why, then that exchange is not going to feel worthwhile. But if you know that this is actually getting you one step closer to freedom, or one step closer to living most of your days in the 3 things that are your superpowers that make you fulfilled and happy, like talking to clients, selling, whatever your superpowers are, then that's going to enable you to get there faster and not let you stumble when things pop up, because you know exactly why you want that. Making sure you know in your bones not only why you're doing something, but how it fits into your vision is crucial for goal success. The last thing I've seen standing in the way between a goal and success is not knowing what it's actually going to take to achieve the goal. So I actually had a conversation with a client a few days ago about this, where they're a 7-figure business, but they want to grow to multi-7 figures. And that's his goal, which is, at the face of it, a great goal. But just like there's many ways to get to Paris, there's many ways to get to a multi-7-figure business. What we had to do is take that goal and then break it down into how he could actually get there. Was he going to work more hours? No, because that actually does not align with his vision for his life, which I talked about before. You got to know that the goal that you're setting and why you're setting it. So if he's not working more hours or can't work more hours, then how are we going to get there? Then we looked at leverage. We looked at monetizing his expertise, because he's a very well respected guy in his industry. And there is literally endless possibilities of how he can monetize his expertise. We also looked at the team and how the team was operating and making a few tweaks to the team to support him so that they could make it rain. What I love about this is that when you actually know what the steps are to getting to your goal, it suddenly goes from being Mount Everest to just a bunny hill. Because here's the harsh truth. We have no control over if a goal comes to pass, but what we do have absolute control over is our day-to-day committed action. When we break down a goal and we know what committed action we need, then it makes it easier. If we go back to this multi-7-figure goal that he has, we know that if he and his team do these 3 things, and for autonomy's sake, I'm not going to actually make them specific, that will result in a $40,000 deal. By doing those 3 things, he may not get the $40,000 deal every single week, but his chances of success are higher because they're doing the committed action that they know leads to that type of a deal. To recap, to get you from where you are to your goal, you need to make sure it's in alignment, fully embody it, and help your brain understand where you're going, that you're not going to die, and that it's actually going to be really worth it. The second is understanding why you're doing it. And then the third is understanding the steps that it's going to take to get there. I'll leave you with this. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So whatever goals you have for your life, for your business, for yourself, make sure that you're doing them for the right reasons, the reasons that align to you, and that you have a concrete plan of how to get there. Because again, we can't control if the goal comes to be, but we can control the attitude and the action that we put into it. That's it for this week's episode. I'd love to hear from you and your biggest takeaways or the goal you're running after. So make sure you're following along, tag me on Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever you hang out on the interwebs. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. So which part of your business needs love and attention? You might be wondering that. Here are your next steps. Head to goldenkeypartnership.com or the show notes below to schedule your diagnostic deep dive. Thanks for listening to the Biz Doctor podcast. If you love the show, please share it with your colleagues or tag me on social media, especially LinkedIn. And subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts.